We'd like answers. You know, who did it, why they did it.
Supposedly the girl.
And I guess I'm gonna have to be the first to say, why didn't Worcester PD do anything further way back when?
Through the whole case, if you can. How did you find out? What did you find out?
I'm gonna leave that on him
Information you
because
guys
he
know.
was there initially when they showed up that night.
In the beginning, my mother had said that she hadn't heard from my sister. Her boyfriend at the time, Joel Perrin, I don't know, was less than desirable or whatever. They were into drugs. So for her to not get in touch with my mother for a day or two was no big deal, but to have more than a few days was an issue. When my mother finally got in touch with Joel Perrin, the boyfriend, I guess it had been over 20 days that he hadn't heard from his girlfriend, our sister at the time. My mother had called the police. My sister had been arrested for drugs, prostitution, whatever, so they just assumed it to be not that big a deal. She'd come back, or she's probably just out wherever. That, I believe, was in, I want to say like November, December of '93. Somewhere around that time frame or something. I could be off on it. I think it was before the beginning of '94, but right around somewhere in that ballpark. And then my mother had called a couple of times, you know, still no answers, no nothing. Joe Perrin still hadn't heard anything. My mother called me in March. I forget what the date was, but had called, said that the Worcester Police Department had just called her, said that they're sending a detective to the house in reference to her daughter. So I went over to the house. The policeman, detective, had just got there when I got there. Just very, I don't know, just very, like it was a very casual thing for him to have. For my mother, it was devastating. It was her youngest daughter. It was her youngest of her 8 kids. So for her, it was something more than what he looked at it, I think. He told her that somebody had found the body, that they believe it to be an accidental overdose. After the fact, we found out that her body had been found with, you know, wrapped in plastic in a rug or a blanket, which we then asked the detective about, and he just said that you know, she probably just OD'd with a bunch of people and they just rolled her up and, you know, got rid of the body. That was, my mother questioned, everybody questioned, you know. I don't think they did enough in that first time frame, just because of, you know, I think they probably just looked at it, she's a crackhead or whatever it was, and that was the end of the story. It was no big deal.
Right.
They changed it. 2009, there was something brought up. Some girl came forward and said that her husband or boyfriend, whoever he was, had threatened to beat the crap out of her. And a long, long time ago, he had told her that, you know, he'd kill her, and he had done it before, and had mentioned wrapping somebody up in plastic in a rug and whatever else it may have been. In 2009, we went into the police station. No, 2010 is when they changed the certificate over. It was before I left. I left October of 2009. It was before I left Sherry, when we went to the police station. It was the summer of 2009. But 2009 or 2010, one time around there is when they had us go in there. They said they had somebody. She had known about it. She was afraid for her life or whatever. We asked if they were going to pursue anything with her. They said no. That it wasn't, I don't know, they just weren't going to say or do anything to her. The guy, I guess, there was never enough evidence collected, I think, in the beginning of it, because they didn't see it as anything. They had everything sent to, I believe it was Florida or something, for DNA testing and stuff like that, for this particular person, and they wouldn't tell us the name of either one of them, of the guy or the girl that they had for it. And they said that there wasn't enough DNA testing to be able to pursue it for him. He was being held for other cases, I believe.
Or other reasons.
Or other things.
Yeah.
But as far as where our sister was involved, he would not be charged with that.
So at some point though, they changed it over to a homicide?
In 2010, after this girl came forward, I don't know, I guess miraculously they found stuff on her that deemed it to be a homicide.
That they didn't when she died, that gets me, but,
There were marks on her body that, you know, we had questioned and stuff. They just, you know, I don't know if they blew it off or whatever, they just didn't deem it enough to say that it should be a homicide in any way.
Do you think you'll see it solved in your lifetime?
I would love to see it solved.
Yeah.
I really would.
I don't believe it will be. I don't believe that there was enough evidence taken. I don't believe there was enough care put into the case to start. Not trying to say anything against the police, but I just don't think they had enough into it. So there's not enough today to do anything for the person, other than that person admitting it himself.
Do you think there's anyone out there that has information that if they come forward, it could?
Well, that girl,
I think there's got to be
I
other.
believe,
If
yeah,
that girl,
I believe there is.
I mean,
we've never talked to her. She'd never come to us either.
there's got to be somebody who knows
But that would
something.
be nice if she did.
Yeah. There's got to be somebody who knows something out there, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be hard not to.
Well, we would love if anybody knows anything about this to come forward, just so that the family can finally have answers. I mean, especially her kids. I don't gotta get emotional. Damn it.
Yeah. And it's good for like somebody like you doing things on these. Even if nothing comes out of it, it keeps it fresh for somebody, specifically us. But if nothing else, it like you said, if the police get a little tip here and there each time,
Yeah.
you know, who knows? Maybe eventually it'll be worth it. You know.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.